Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah. Why was this an opportunity you wanted to pursue, and just how did this kind of all go down?
Oh man, the process was crazy. Honestly, the biggest thing for me, I had a ton of people that know Coach B, and through those connections, it kind of just happened, kind of organically. Me and Coach Henry have a ton of mutual friends as well that spoke highly of me, and through those connections, we kind of figured it might be a really good fit. Came up on an interview, loved it, loved all the people, loved the surroundings, the environment, how everything felt, and here I am today.
Coach, sorry, can you move that mic up a little bit? Good, Joel? Yeah. Good.
You spent a lot of time in Texas, obviously. Coach B almost talked about recruiting Texas. What do you think about that opportunity for Illinois and what you can bring there?
Well, of course, being a Texas guy, I have a ton of relationships in that state that will last a lifetime. So naturally going to take advantage of some relationships in certain places, but I'm excited about the opportunity to recruit the best players the country has to offer. We're definitely going to try to go find the best players that fit our program from east to west, north to south, and everywhere in the middle. But we'll take advantage of some relationships I do have back at home.
When you talk to your mutual friends with Bielema or Henry, what do they tell you about what it's like to work with them, or just kind of what's the vibe they have in the industry that made this so attractive to you?
The one thing that I consistently got from everybody I talked to was that he makes you better as an assistant coach. And that was extremely attractive to me. I consider myself a sponge. Whether I'm going into now, blessed to have coached 18 years now and hope to be able to do it a lot longer, but I'm constantly looking for opportunities to grow. And everybody I talk to that knows him or has worked with him says he will make you better as an assistant coach in every aspect of coaching, professionally and personally. So that intrigued me probably more than anything.
Who are the coaches in your past that have had that kind of influence on you?
Say that again.
Who are the guys in your past, coaches that have been kind of mentor types for you?
Oh man, the list could go on all week. First we want to start with Carl Torbush. He recently just passed away.
Right.
He was my position coach at Texas A&M.
Sure.
Then you take a guy like Buddy Wyatt, who recruited me, Kevin Sumlin, who recruited me, Van Malone, who was the assistant head coach at Kansas State, who is my best friend in the world.
Okay.
And I'm leaving some guys off, but there's a ton of them.
So after your playing career, what made you want to go into coaching after that?
Say that again.
After your playing career, what kind of made you want to go into
Put all my eggs in one basket. I knew I was going to play as long as I could, and then I wanted to coach. And that I had tunnel vision on that mission. So I was fortunate to have a really good college career for me. Wasn't in the NFL long enough to unpack a sock, and so by then I jumped right into coaching, and I haven't looked back since.
How would you describe your philosophy in terms of, coaching up your position group over the years?
The biggest thing for me is making sure that our players are smart, tough, dependable. I'm sure you guys have heard that before. And then secondly, relationships. I told each and every player that I've had a chance to meet in my position group up to this point, our relationship is going to be one of the most important things to me. I've had a chance to speak with every one of them. I've had a chance to speak to pretty much all of their parents. And the personal relationship, I think, is what allows you to have a great product on the field. That's one aspect of it. And so that part's huge for me.
Coach, you said tunnel vision to know what you want to do, so I'm guessing you probably knew from an early age or at some point in high school that you wanted to go into this field. Is that...
When I was 10 years old, I sat in my bedroom playing Nintendo, and I wrote a list of everything I wanted to accomplish. And up to this point, I'm now 40 years old, I've hit every single one of them except 2. So when I set out to do something, I don't look for exit strategies, I don't look for a plan B. And I've just been extremely blessed up to this point, to sum it all up.
What are the 2?
You said what
are the 2?
So to have a long career in the NFL, that was one, and then to be a college All-American. Those were the 2 I did hit.
Pretty good. And have you been there before? Have you ever visited this place?
I have family in Chicago.
Okay.
So Illinois is not foreign to me.
Okay.
You know, so this isn't. I think a lot of people think, wow, he's never been here before. No, I've been here several times over the course of the
You've
years.
been to game here or not?
I've never been to a game here
Okay.
per se, but I've been in this area.
Okay.
What did you observe about Aaron, a kind of a younger and up-and-coming defensive coordinator, that made that particular partnership?
He's unbelievable. You know, he is his organizational skills. He has a brilliant football mind, which I was told. We have a bunch of mutual friends that kind of know me from a professional standpoint, and they all said you and him will be a perfect match. Probably one of the most impressive things to me in 3 days is yesterday was the first time I had an opportunity to see him stand before the players, the defensive players, and his presence was second to none. You know, and so there's no question he's the right guy for the job, and he's going to get this thing going in a direction that can produce quality championship level football.
The tradition of your position at this place,
Mhm.
what's it mean? I mean, you know the names, but I assume if you heard the names,
Mhm.
what does it mean to you? What they've done, how do you use that when you're coaching yourself?
So, of course, like you said, I know the names, and the greatest one of all time, Dick Butkus, in my opinion. You know, you want our players here at the University of Illinois to be able to resemble great championship caliber football,
Sure.
especially at the linebacker position. And so when you come here and you're at this institution, I think that's the standard. You know, and the coach has to understand that's the standard. And when a standard is set, you either meet it or you don't. Or you can exceed it, which
Right.
I would love to do. So that's the plan.
What did you think when you walked by the statue the first time, which is right outside your office?
Oh, it was unbelievable. You know, it was everything for me from the time I interviewed to the time I got here 7 days later to the 3 days I've been here now has been extremely first class. I've been blown away with a lot of things. This place has everything it needs to give this community the product that it is looking for, and I'm excited to be a part of that.
Coach, what do you feel like you bring to the table as a recruiter? And besides the state of Texas, are there other states and territories where you've been pretty active?
Yeah, I mean, again, from Texas, so, you know, I know that like the back of my hand, but I have recruited everywhere. You know, I've signed kids from California junior colleges. I've signed kids from the Midwest. We've signed kids from Brooklyn. You know, so I've had an opportunity to kind of touch a little bit of everything. And the biggest thing for me that I think will never change when you look at recruiting is relationships with people and giving them an opportunity to see your true, genuine self, making sure that everything you do with them and their families is honest. I take a lot of pride when we have an opportunity to recruit a young man and his family, that when they get on campus, everything you told them in recruiting is exactly what happened. And so that means a lot to me. That means a lot to me. So I think that's what I bring, is just genuine relationships and pouring into young men and their families, and it's coming from a genuine place.
Archie, can I ask you about the MCAA? What drew you to? Did you start that organization? I know you're the president, but
Mhm.
what drew you to that organization and starting that?
MCAA, so that is the Minority Coaches Advancement Association, for guys, people that don't know. And basically, when you look at the landscape of college football and you just look at the numbers on paper, you know, minorities in positions of leadership, coordinator roles, head coaching roles, are extremely low. And so what we did was we figured, or tried to figure out, how can we help? And so our only focus is preparation and just bringing awareness to what's going on. You know, when you look at coordinator roles in college football, there's probably somewhere around 1,300 roles in the entire landscape of college football. And I'm talking about the person that actually calls the plays. And when you say there's close to 1,300 of those positions available, there's around 200 of those positions that are held by minorities. And I'm not just talking about African Americans. And what we want to do is take a situation that's underrepresented and give people the tools to be able to achieve those things and be successful. You know, so we create mock interview situations and just try to make connections, and again, give guys opportunities to be prepared for when they get a chance to sit in that seat or interview.
So you've been a leader as a player and as a coach. What have you learned about being a leader in that seat, in that organization around that?
I mean, again, it comes back to relationships. It comes back to, you know, just sometimes when you talk about this, people get uncomfortable, you know, and it doesn't bother me to have uncomfortable conversations, especially when they're held in the right manner. And that's the biggest thing for me, is just, you know, people understanding that I'm a numbers guy. I'm a black and white numbers guy. What does it say on paper? And when you look at what things say on paper, me and Van Malone, who's the associate head coach at Kansas State, Tremaine Jackson, who's the head coach at Valdosta State University, you know, the three of us for about 2 or 3 years, constantly every day, just had conversations about what we're talking about right now. And finally we said, what can we do to help? And that was our solution. And it's been extremely successful for us so far.
I know linebacker play is linebacker play, but are you familiar with the scheme here that they've played and the kind of the philosophy defensively?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when I came on my interview, I'm hoping that's one of the things Coach Henry saw that made me a natural fit. I take a lot of pride in just being knowledgeable and being able to coach football no matter the situation. But I did a lot of studying and researching on everybody in the building, you know, before I accepted this job, because one thing that's extremely important is fit. And you can want to be somewhere, you can want to do all these great things, but if you don't fit, it's not going to work, you know. And so for me, I wanted to make sure I was the appropriate fit for Coach Henry and Coach B. And like I say, here I am today talking to you guys.
Your bosses, Coach B and Aaron, like to recruit under-recruited, undersized, underappreciated kids. I would imagine in the places you've been at, you've had to do that. Is that an incorrect assumption when you're at a SMU or at a Houston that you have to find kids like that?
I think it can be a combination of both, you know, because I've had the opportunity to recruit and coach both, you know. There's times you're going to get guys that people think you can't get. There's times you're going to take guys that people think you shouldn't have taken. And at the end of the day, when you look at their career, were they some type of benefit to your program? And if you can look up and say they were, then you did a good job.
You've only been on the job 3 days. Like with your group of players, do you look at a bunch of film on these guys, or do you maybe take this spring ball as a fresh slate?
I want to create my own thoughts and everything from something that I see them do. You know, it's easy to cut on the film and immediately start, you know, establishing your own thoughts based off the video, and naturally you're going to do that. But like yesterday was the first day I've had to watch my guys move around, and I got really excited. I got really excited at just watching them work. And that's the first thing that stood out to me. And we're just gonna take it step by step, day by day, 1 second, 1 moment at a time, and get this thing going in the right direction.
The spring game's going to be your first game at Memorial Stadium. What are some things you're looking at early on to sort of apply your coaching philosophy?
For the spring game specifically, just seeing how guys can handle situational football, seeing how guys can go out there in a game type atmosphere and just go play. Like, you know, I want the game to be the easiest part of what they do. You know, put them in situations in practice that challenge them mentally and physically and emotionally, and get all the bad crap out of the way there. So now when you get to the game, the cream rises to the crop, and you're in the locker room at the end of 4 quarters, and you're celebrating, throwing Gatorade all over the place, and getting ready to go do it again the next week.
Looks like the furthest north you've ventured as a coach is Tulsa. So winters in Champaign are probably a little different than Texas. Are you? Is that any consideration for you? What the weather's like?
I'm not concerned about that at all, because when I was at the University of Tulsa, I literally got snowed in my home and could not leave. So I'm assuming it can't be any worse than that here. I mean, I opened up my door and the snow was this high. So, you know, I've experienced the hottest of days, and I've experienced 5 and 6 feet of snow, and I'm just happy to be here and go to work.
Anything else for Coach?